Before you get into the real estate market, get clarity, perspective, and the information you need.
I've been listening to you, and I love your show.
Right here with broker owner Dan Gemus, host of the Dan Gemus Real Estate Show.
Segment here on the Dan Gemus Real Estate Show. We're with you every Saturday and Sunday from noon to 1 here on AM800. Heather Marintet with me, and we were just joking because we were having all these great conversations during commercial breaks, and the breaks are going by so fast.
We keep getting interrupted.
We're like, what this show's in the way here. Come on now. So we have a winner, Heather, for the contest for the Richmond Popcorn Company.
We do. Congratulations to Lorena Kavanaugh.
All right, Lorena, congrats.
Oh, you get great popcorn.
There you go. Enjoy that. The gift card from the Richmond Popcorn Company. You can find them online, richmondpopcorn.com, and you can go visit their retail location in Amherstburg, right at 61 Richmond Street, right next to our real estate office. Can't miss it on Richmond Street in downtown Amherstburg. Open, right now they're closed on Mondays for the January, but otherwise they're open 7 days a week for the majority of the year. So there you go. So enjoy that, and make sure you try Nikki's caramel corn, and my favorite's the Oreo. I got lots of favorites, but
yeah, I'm
all the good stuff. All the good stuff. Okay, so what do you say we get to some listener questions, Heather?
Let's do it.
See if I can find some here. So, let me go through the list. Okay, what's the best way to handle a lowball offer on my home? Great question.
I guess everybody probably has a different take on it. For me, I always say, sure, it's too low, but counter it back.
Always counter.
Counter it back. If anything, you let those buyers know where you stand. I don't care if you counter back at full asking price.
Yep.
As long as you are countering it back, you are then sending a message one way or the other, right? If you just leave it, then they don't really know. Like, they might have, a lot of buyers will put in a low ball knowing that they, full well that they can go higher.
That's right.
But if you don't counter back
They
at all,
wanna
they
try.
don't really even know where to go from there.
Homer Simpson, the dope. That's the feeling I get every time a seller does not counter back an offer for whatever reason, whether it's we're working with our buyer or our seller. Yeah. We will always tell our seller, always, like Heather said, counter back. No matter what, let it die in their hands, never in our own hands.
I mean, I guess I've had times where it's like you've countered back and forth so many times that eventually somebody just has to let it go. And
That's
be like,
right.
We're clearly not
That's
coming, to terms, but we've at least said where we stand.
That's right.
So at that point, you can let it go, I think, but for the most part, counter it back.
And we've seen things come together. Like, where you wouldn't expect them to, and they come together, right? You give it a day or two, and someone just has a change of heart. It comes back 100%. So there you go. Hopefully that answers that question for that listener. What else do we have here? What should I know about buying a home with a septic? Okay, great topic. So septics, first of all, we're on septic. Are you on a septic, Heather?
I am.
Yep.
And in Essex County, you will find a lot of septic.
Tons of septic tanks. I love being on septic.
Yep.
You know why? Our water bills are much
That's true. We don't have wastewater.
cheaper, which wastewater is the majority of your bill. So, for our house, our water bill is typically about $30 a month-ish, where when we were in town, our water bill was $100 and something a month, $130 a month.
Yep.
So it's much, much cheaper. Yes, there's the added expense if you're building a house to put the septic in.
And then knowing that one day, eventually down the road, somewhere, someday, you will probably have to do something with the septic to repair. But that's just like with any maintenance of any home, and you just know it's there and you budget for
100%.
it.
So there is maintenance to worry about with the septic and cleaning out the septic and that kind of thing every few years.
Being more conscious with what's going down your drain.
That's right.
Like just knowing what to do and what not to do.
That's right. So when you're buying a property with a septic, we're always going to recommend having it looked at, getting an inspection done.
Yep.
Finding out when the seller's last cleaned it out, which is important as well.
If they know the age, a lot of people don't know the age of their septics, and it's very safe to assume that a lot are original to houses, but sometimes they know when it was replaced, if it was replaced, and again, when it was cleaned out last.
And typically it should be cleaned out every 3 to 5 years, depending on how many people live in the property and how big the septic is, right? I've been to properties where someone will tell me, oh, you know what? We're on septic, but I don't remember ever having it cleaned out. I'm like, that's not good. That can be good. It happens quite a bit, right? So you got to make sure it gets cleaned out on a regular basis. And again, depends how many people live in the property.
Oh, definitely.
But again, you can spend a few $100 to have a septic company come out and inspect it, and they'll give you a good idea as to what kind of shape it's in and how it's doing. And there's multiple different types of septic tanks. So it's really, the technology's really, improved over the last years. And so if you're putting a new septic in, the company will definitely give you some options, and what they recommend is the best option for your property. Sometimes if it's a smaller yard, they recommend something different, and et cetera, et cetera. What do we have next? Sell before buying. Should we sell before buying? That's a common question.
Right or wrong
common
answer,
question. Yeah.
Right? Like it's going to depend on your comfort level. Everybody's scenario is different. Can you purchase first and then sell? Do you need the proceeds, and do you need to know exactly what those proceeds are going to be from your sale to then move on to the next?
Yeah, if you are financially sound and you have the ability to carry both houses, then some people decide to take the chance and find a property, put an offer on it, and maybe they might start putting an offer with a house to sell on it, but then if they go to get bumped, they'll remove it.
Yep.
Or
you just can't. And
or you just
can't.
Get
bumped, you have to let it go.
100%. 100%.
Yep.
Others, again, in the same scenario where they might put an offer in, and then they might ask for a longer closing, which then gives them the opportunity to sell their house as much, for as much time as possible. There's different scenarios, but at the end of the day, it depends on your property. Is the property easy to sell? Is it in a good price point? Is it a higher price point that might take longer? Lots of different factors at play there. So if you're having that discussion and you're trying to decide which way to go, give us a call. When we come out and see the property, we'll give you the best.
Talk about different scenarios, right? Yep.
We'll give you the best bet there. Let's see if we have time for one more. Let me just scan through them. Sell as is or fix up? Okay, well, that's another good question. I guess it more depends on what's going on in the house.
Yeah, if it's, everything is in decent shape, more modern, but you've got that one old bathroom, or like your paint is starting to like flake in areas, then it's not a bad thing to do those small updates, right? To do to like create, so it's a one big picture and it's all kind of all the same. But if your house needs everything updated, then for me, it's more about cleaning it up, maybe a fresh coat of paint.
I was going to say,
simple
paint
type
maybe,
things,
yeah.
And then maybe letting the next person modernize it to their taste.
Yeah, because if you need a new kitchen, new bathroom, new floors, new everything,
you're not going to get that money back. You're
exactly.
It's going to help, but you're not going to get that full return back.
And the buyer might want to just do their own thing, right? They might prefer, white cabinets as opposed to dark, or whatever, whatnot. There's a million different options, but so it really depends on the property. And like Heather said, first of all, buyers care about the immediate needs: roof, HVAC, right? Like, obviously, they care about bathrooms and kitchens too, but those are both expensive.
They are expensive.
First of all, they're all expensive renovations. Every single one of those things. A new roof is not cheap. HVAC is not cheap. Those are all the expensive, things. But ultimately, if you can do the small stuff like Heather says, update a few.
Even things like if you're thinking like, what, my bathroom's in pretty good shape, but that countertop is really beat up.
Yes.
Or that, this vanity is really old and dated, but everything else looks good. You know what? That's a simple thing. Like put in a new vanity, replace the countertop, right? You don't have to think big with all of these things to make that visual impact. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that answers some of your questions. There's more coming through, but we'll get to them next week. You can always shoot us a text or an email at dan@dangemus.com, and we'll add them to the list of questions to answer on next week's shows. Okay, so there you go. Right at time. If you are looking to make a move, well, give us a call, and we'll come out there and then say hello and give you a free home market evaluation, 519-566-5565, or you can find us on our website at dangemus.com, DANGEMUS.com. Heather, thanks for coming today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We'll see you all next Saturday and Sunday from noon to 1 right here on the Dan Gemus Real Estate Show.